The stars were silent. Deep in space, the small research ship Athena 9 moved quietly near a red nebula. Inside the ship, Dr. Elena Ray was checking the sensors. She was alone on a solo science mission mapping unknown signals from deep space. Suddenly, the control lights blinked red. Warning, gravitational pull detected, the system said. Elina stood up. That's not its heart, she whispered. Before she could react, the ship shook hard. The engines failed. Her screen showed one word: wormhole. The ship was pulled in. Everything turned white. When Alina woke up, her head hurt. Sparks flew. From broken wires, her ship was gone. She was inside a small escape pod, already landed on a strange planet. Outside the glass window, the sky was purple and the ground glowed blue. Plants moved like they were alive. Alina opened the pod door and stepped out slowly. The air was warm but heavy. She looked around. There was no wind, no animals, just an odd silence. This isn't Earth. This isn't anywhere I know, she said. She took 3 steps forward and then froze. A small flying drone hovered in front of her. It scanned her body with a red light. Alina tried to back away, but more drones appeared. 10. 20. They surrounded her. A deep voice came from a speaker above. Do not resist. You are under inspection by Order 6 of Galactic Law. Before she could scream, a beam of light covered her. She vanished. Alina opened her eyes again. She was standing in a cold silver room. The walls were smooth metal. In front of her stood a tall figure, at least 7 feet high. He had pale silver skin, black eyes without pupils, and armor that looked alive. I am Commander Vale, he said calmly. By alien law, you have entered protected space. You must be inspected. Alina's heart raced. Inspected? For what? For physical, emotional, and mental compatibility. We do not allow unknown species to roam freely. You may be a danger. I'm just a scientist. I didn't mean to come here, she shouted. That does not matter. Intent does not protect. You from law? Vale pressed a button. A soft blue light scanned her body. You're a ... human. Weak bones. High emotional range. Interesting. Alina felt like a lab rat. She looked around. No door, no window, just the alien and machines. Am I a prisoner? She asked. You are a guest, until the inspection is complete. For hours or maybe days, she couldn't tell Alina was tested. She walked through strange halls with changing gravity. She answered questions from eye machines with blinking eyes. She was shown images designed to make her angry, sad, happy. They watched how she reacted. She hated it, but the strangest thing was the commander. He never shouted. He never showed emotion. But he was always there watching her. Quiet. Still. One night, or what felt like night, she sat alone in her room. A meal tray appeared from the wall. Strange blue food, but somehow it tasted like bread. Then she heard the door hiss. Commander Vale entered, holding a small glass device. You passed phase 1, he said. What happens next? She asked. We begin phase 2, emotional resonance. What does that mean? He looked at her, his black eyes cold. It means we see what your soul is made of. He walked to her. Slowly, he placed the device on her forehead. The world around her melted. Suddenly, Alina was standing inside her own memory, her childhood home, a snowstorm outside, her father reading her a story by the fire. She gasped. How do you? I see what you feel, Vale said, now standing beside her in the memory. You are full of pain, but also hope. Alina turned to him. Do you feel anything? He did not answer. But for the first time, his eyes blinked. Back in the real room. Alina removed the device. Vale looked at her longer than usual. You are not like others. Because I cry? She said, because you care, even when you are afraid. Then he turned to leave. Before the door shut, he stopped. Sleep well, human. Tomorrow, ... we test trust. The door closed. Alina sat on the floor, heart beating fast. What kind of inspection is this? She whispered, but inside, a part of her was no longer afraid. Asterisk. It didn't start with a question. It started with a sound. A deep, humming tone that shook the floor and made Alina's skin feel like it was vibrating from the inside. She opened her eyes. The room around her had changed. No more smooth walls. No more ceiling. She was standing in a dark field under a sky full of white ringed circles moving slowly, glowing above her head like silent moons. The ground was soft like sand, but warm. A voice echoed, not from a speaker, but inside her head, emotional. Layer 1. Fear. Suddenly the rings turned red. She felt it first in her chest tightness, then her surroundings shifted. The field faded, and now she stood on the edge of a cliff. Wind roared. Below her, darkness, a memory, her first solo sky. Dive. She was 16. She had begged her dad to let her go. Then, as she stood at the edge of the plane, her legs froze. Not from fear of falling, but fear of failing. The instructor pushed her gently. She screamed, then flew, back in the testing room. Alina blinked. Her breath was heavy. Commander Vale stood nearby, hands behind his back. That memory, that feeling. You were afraid? He said. Yes, she replied. But you jumped. I had to. I was scared, but I didn't want fear. To win. Vale tilted his head. Strange. Most species obey fear. Humans don't, she said quietly. At least ... not always. Vale said nothing, but wrote something on his floating tablet. The screen flickered as if adjusting to something new. Phase 2 began. A series of emotion-based challenges were activated. These weren't just tests. They were experiences, memory recreations, simulations, even conversation traps designed to provoke her. In one room, she faced a hologram of her mother. It looked, moved, and spoke like her. Why didn't you come home? The mother asked. You miss my last days. Alina knew it wasn't real, but it still hurt. She didn't reply. She just stood still, tears welling up but refusing to fall. Vale watched from behind the glass. He leaned closer. Why doesn't she run? He asked his assistant AI. Human defense reaction unknown, the AI replied. She chooses to endure. Next, they tested her with moral simulations. A child was trapped in a fire. Save the child, but you lose your only escape. Do nothing and survive. Alina didn't even pause. She ran into the flames. Burning pain shot through her limbs. But the test faded before it consumed her. The AI noted her decision. So did Vale. She sacrifices, he said aloud, without guarantee of reward. That is inefficient, said the AI. That is human, Vale whispered. That night, Alina was back in her cold silver room. She didn't sleep. She sat on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, eyes staring at the door. The inspection was more than a test. It was seeing her. She hated it. She also feared what would come next. Then the door opened. Vale entered silently. This time he wasn't holding any device. No machines, no tools, just his tall presence. I have questions, he said. Alina raised her eyebrow. Now you ask questions. I want to understand why you feel guilt over things you could not change. Alina exhaled slowly. Because that's what we do. We care too much. Even when it hurts. Do all humans carry pain? No. She said, but all of us carry something. There was a pause. Then Vale sat down on the floor across from her. Not in a chair, not above her. Just equal. You confused me. He said, good, Alina replied, leaning her head against the wall. Maybe you need a little confusion. Vale looked at his own hand, something he hadn't done in years. His skin didn't wrinkle. It didn't age. But suddenly he felt aware of it. He stood up. I'll return tomorrow. Final test begins. What's it called? She asked. Phase 3. Vulnerability. He turned to leave but paused again. You do not scream. You do not run. Why? Alina smiled sadly. Because I think you're watching to see if you still have a heart. As the door closed behind him, Commander Vale felt something strange. In his chest. A beat, a moment, not from programming. Not from command. From ... Something else. It started with silence, but not the empty kind. This silence had weight. Like something watching, something waiting. Elena sat alone in a small glass room, walls so clear. They felt like invisible cages. She could see the stars outside, glowing, across the alien sky. But there were no windows, no air. Just a perfect view she could never reach. The bed hadn't changed. The lights were still soft blue. But something felt. She wasn't being tested today, dot. She was being a dot at exactly the same time every morning. A sound would come. Click. His stepped up, a door opened. Commander Vale walked in with his usual calm. Today, he carried nothing, no scanner, no tablet, no emotion. But Alina noticed something different. He paused before speaking. Finally, he said, "No more phases today." She looked up. Why? He didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "Do you still wish to return to Earth?" Alina stared at him. Is that a real question or another test? Vale blinked. It is curiosity. She stood up slowly, facing him. I want answers, Commander. Real ones. You are not authorized to ask, he replied. Then I'll ask anyway. There was silence again, but this time it cracked something open. Alina walked closer. What happens to me if I fail your inspection? Vale's jaw tightened. For the first time, hesitation. Termination, he said finally. Memory deletion. Cellular erase. No remains. No pain. She blinked hard. No pain? You think that makes it better? It makes it clean. Alina's voice shook. You mean you've done this before? With other people? Yes. How? Many? Vale said nothing. Her voice rose. How many, Vale? 17, he said quietly. One tried to run. One begged. One simply gave up. Alina's fist clenched. And you watched them all? I was required, he said. And did you feel anything? She whispered. He didn't reply. She turned away from him, breathing heavy. This place was worse than a prison. It was a lab where they studied souls. But Vale, something inside him shifted. He stepped forward. Just once. They did not ask questions, he said. You do. That's what humans do, Alina replied. We don't stay silent, just because someone powerful tells us to. Vale tilted his head slightly. And if silence is safer, then we speak louder. The door suddenly opened again too soon. 2 silver guards entered. They weren't like Vale. They had no faces, just mirrored helmets. They motioned to her. One spoke in a cold, robotic voice. Subject must be moved for core scan. Emotionally invasive. Full access required. Vale stepped between them and Alina. She's not ready, he said. Commander. Override not granted, the machine said. Order from High Data Council. I said she is not ready. The guards paused, then turned away and left. The door shut again. Alina looked at Vale, eyes wide. You stopped them. I should not have, but you did. That night, Alina couldn't sleep. The glass walls now felt like they were closing in. She began to pace, then something flickered in the corner of the room. A small panel opened in the wall, one she had never seen before. Inside, a metal box. Curious. She opened it. Inside the box was a disc. And a note. Just 5 words. This is. What came before? She placed the disc on the table. A hologram opened. Her breath caught. Videos. Dozens of them. Other humans. Some crying. Some screaming. One smiling before vanishing into light. This was proof. Proof of what this place had done, and someone wanted her to see it. The door opened again. Vale stood there. He saw the hologram glowing on her table, but said nothing. You left this, Alina said. No, he replied. But I didn't stop it. Why are you helping me? He looked at her, quiet for a long time. I do not know. Alina took a step forward. You feel something. I see it. Even if you don't. I am not designed to feel, he said. Then, maybe you weren't designed perfectly? She said with a small smile. Vale stared at her. He didn't smile back, but something in his eyes softened. Tomorrow, he said, they will begin the core scan. What's that? They will enter your deepest memories. Your pain, your secrets. Can I say no? No. But I can delay it? Why? Vale looked at her for a long moment, then answered, because you are the first one who made me want to break the law. Asterisk Vale had never seen a sunset. His planet had no sky, only rotating metal skies, artificial light. But tonight, standing in the viewing chamber, he watched colors melt across the dome, pinks, oranges, shadows. All projected for the humans? Comfort. But strangely, it comforted him too. He didn't understand why Dot behind him. The door opened with a whisper. Alina entered, wearing a plain gray robe given by the station. Her hair was damp from recycled water showers. Her eyes tired but calm. I didn't know you had sunsets here, she said. We don't, Vale replied. This is ... programmed. Well, she said, walking beside him. Whoever programmed it had a soul. Vale said nothing, but inside, something flickered. She looked out. On Earth, sunsets mean a lot. They single quotes re ... endings. But soft ones. Not like switches. I don't understand the point of softness, Vale said. Then maybe ... It's time you do. The test room was different today. No bright lights. No needles. No scans. Just 2 chairs, and a small silver cube on the table between them, glowing faintly. Alina looked at it. Is that another trap? It's called a mind mesh, Vale explained. It links 2 minds for shared memory viewing. Me. You. Together. Her eyes narrowed. That's not a test. That single quotes is ... intimate. He nodded. It is optional. No records. No observers. She studied him. A soldier offering his own mind. That wasn't protocol. That was trust. Alina sat down. Let's see what your perfect world really hides. Vale placed one hand on the cube. She did the same. The world faded. First came her memories. Vale saw her childhood running barefoot through wet grass, holding her mother's hand, watching fireworks for the first time. Laughter, then tears. Her first heartbreak. Her first loss. He felt everything. He felt. His breath trembled. This is joy? He asked. Yes, she said. And pain. They come together. Then came his memories. She was pulled into cold halls, endless corridors of order and silence. His childhood had no parents, just mentors with no names. He was built, not born, chosen for logic, designed for discipline. He watched comrades deleted for disobedience. He never cried because no one taught him how. Alina's eyes watered. No one ever held you? She asked. No, not even once. No, why would they? She reached out, gently touched his hand across the cube. A spark jumped. For the first time, his hand pulled back not from fear, but confusion. That's called kindness. She whispered. The cube flashed. New memory. Not hers. Not his. Theirs. A new one being born from connection. They stood in the viewing dome again, but this time no metal. A real sky. A child laughing in the background. 2 figures side by side. What is this? He asked. A future, she whispered. One that didn't exist until now. The connection ended. They sat in silence, staring at each other. Vale looked down at his hand, still shaking, still warm. Your mind is loud, he said. Your heart is quiet, she replied. But it's in there. Vale stood. He paced like a man who had seen something forbidden. They won't allow this. If they sense emotional link, the scan becomes termination. You mean they'll kill me if they think you care? Yes, then don't care. He turned. I can single quotes D ... stop. That night, Alina didn't sleep, and neither did Vale. He stood outside her room, hands clenched, thinking about laws written before he was born. She was a danger to their structure. But somehow, she made him feel alive. And that was a danger too. Inside her room, a message blinked on her wall panel from an unknown source. They know. You have 1 cycle left. The message appeared in her sleep, not on a screen. Not in her dreams. It appeared behind her eyes. Voice she didn't recognize whispered into her thoughts like smoke. They know. You must leave. Alina sat up, gasping. Her room was silent. No alarms, no signs of danger, but her hands were shaking. Somebody was watching. Somebody was helping ... warning. Across the station. Commander Vale stood before a high mirror one that didn't reflect light, but truth. A voice buzzed from the glowing symbol above it. Unit Vale, emotional corruption detected. He didn't respond. Your connection with the test subject has been logged. You will be removed from the case in one cycle. Still, silence. Comply or be archived. Vale finally spoke. Softly. You fear what you don't understand. Back. In her room, Alina paced. She stared at the wall panel. The last message was gone. Deleted. She tapped the panel. Nothing. She tried again. This time, a blinking dot appeared, barely visible. She pressed it. A voice played, barely audible. Subdeck 7. Oxygen shaft. Third vent. Then static. That wasn't from Vale. Someone else was involved. Someone inside the system. Later that hour. Alina was escorted to another scan chamber. 2 guards followed, silent as shadows. Vale wasn't with them. That scared her more than anything. The scan room was colder this time. No chairs. Just a glowing ring in the center. A voice echoed from the walls. Final sequence begins. Core scan initiating. Emotional walls will be lowered. Subject will be open to permanent recording. Alina looked at the ring. It pulsed like a heartbeat. She didn't move. Then, crash. The lights blinked. The ring flickered. One of the walls split open. Sparks flew. Vale walked in, without permission. Without orders. He stood between her and the machine. Abort scan, he said. The AI spoke calmly. Override denied. Emotional compromise detected in Commander Vale. Backup enforcers en route. Ale. Turned to Alina. You must go. Now. She shook her head. Go where? They're everywhere. There's a vent. Subdeck 7. Third shaft. It leads to the archive vault. There's a ship hidden there. You planned this? No. He said, but someone did. Someone who remembers. Heavy footsteps echoed behind them. Silver-armored enforcers. Taller than Vale. Expressionless. Vale whispered, run. She hesitated just 1 second long enough to look at him. Then she turned and ran. The hallway lights turned red. Alarms buzzed. But strangely soft. Like they didn't want to alert the whole station. As if someone was helping her. Escaped quietly. Alina crawled through the shaft. It was narrow and hot. Her arms shook. Her knees scraped. Behind her, she heard nothing. That was worse than sound. Then, vent door opened. She fell out onto a cold floor. Subdeck 7. Archive vault. The room was full of storage. Tubes, some glowing. Some cracked. Inside them were things. Objects, bones, memories. And ... People. She moved forward, heart pounding. One tube glowed bright blue. Inside it was a young woman, human. Frozen in time. Eyes closed. She looked ... familiar. Then Alina saw the nameplate. Subject 05 failed inspection. Preserved for study. Her hand trembled as she touched the glass. They never deleted her, Alina whispered. They kept her, like a display. A voice came from behind. She fought too. Alina turned. A new figure stood there. An alien, older, with half his face replaced by metal. I'm not with them anymore, he said. I left the council long ago, but I built the laws. And I helped break them. Why are you helping me? Because you're the first one he ever tried to protect. You mean Vale? He nodded. He was designed to obey. But when he met you, he chose. He handed her a glowing cube. Here, this will open the hidden ship. But once you leave, you cannot come back. Alina looked down. Leave. She had begged for freedom just days ago, but now she wasn't sure. Is he in danger? She asked. Double quotes. Yes, because he hesitated. What if I stay? Then you must choose to fight. Not just to survive, but to change everything. Above them, Alarms changed pitch. This time ... louder. Sharper. May have been found. Alina held the cube tightly. One thought echoed in her mind. He tried to save me. Now it was her turn. Asterisk. She could have left. The door was open. The hidden ship was waiting. The coordinates were already set for Earth. No one would have followed her. No more scans. No more tests. No more Commander Vale. Alina stood on the ramp, wind from the ship's engines brushing her face. Freedom was 10 steps away, but her feet didn't move because something inside her refused to run. He saved me. Now I save him? She turned back. The old alien at the console frowned. You'll be caught, you know that. I'm not afraid anymore, she said. No one's ever come back after reaching this point. I'm not no one. I'm human. She tossed him the ship's key cube. He caught it, stunned. Then may your choice rewrite their laws. Back in the central tower. Vale stood before the judgment panel. 3 alien elders hovered above him, eyes glowing white, voices smooth like machines. You disobeyed. The center voice said, you compromised the purity of inspection. The left one echoed, you let the human live. The right one hissed. Vale said nothing. He didn't blink. He didn't defend himself. He simply waited. Because to speak now would be betrayal of her. The center elder raised one hand. Punishment. Memory purge. Emotional reset. Identity overwrite. Vale's breath slowed. He had been trained for this moment since birth. But now, he was no longer the same machine. Suddenly, the doors burst open. A bright light cut through the chamber. Alina stood there, panting. Messy hair, sweat on her brow, but her eyes burned with something fierce. Fire. Double quotes. Stop it, she said. The elders turned. You were not expected to survive. Yeah, she said. You keep underestimating me. She stepped forward. Slowly. One step. Then another. Guards moved in her direction. She held up her hands. I'm not here to destroy your system. I'm here to challenge it. The left elder sneered. You are one voice. Then listen closely, she said. She looked at Vale. He broke your rules. Not because he failed, but because he felt. That's not weakness. That's growth. Vale met her gaze. His lips moved silently. Why did you come back? She smiled. Because I don't leave people behind. The panel buzzed. Data floated around them. Emotional attachment confirmed. One elder said, biological contamination possible, said another. Double quotes connection. Irreversible, said the last. There was silence. Then a pause. Then, new data, new outcome. Law must evolve. The lights dimmed. The council turned toward Vale. Will you declare bond? He looked at Alina. She stepped forward and held out her hand. He placed his own over hers. His voice was steady. I choose her. Not as a subject, as an equal. A ripple moved through the room. The elder's eyes closed. When they opened again, they were dimmer. We were not made to feel, the center one said. But perhaps ... it is time. The guards lowered their weapons. The chamber door opened. For the first time in their history, a human and an inspector walked out together, not as jailer and prisoner, but as allies. Hours later, Vale and Alina stood in the observation dome again. This time, the sunset wasn't programmed. The elders had ordered the dome open to natural space. Real stars shone through. Vale looked up. It's beautiful. Alina nodded. Told you, soft endings matter. He turned to her. What happens now? She smiled. We build a new rule book. Together. The law was spoken aloud. For 10,000 cycles, the words never changed. Etched in plasma, recited at every council meeting. Emotion is disorder. Attachment is threat. The unknown must be erased. But now, on this day, the voice paused. And then said something new. Emotion is signal. Attachment is possibility. The unknown may be ally. The courtroom was full, not just elders, not just machines. Observers from other species, silent and still, watched from the shadows. Some had no mouths. Others had too many eyes. But they all saw the same thing, a human and an inspector, standing side by side. Alina's hands were behind her back, her shoulders straight, her eyes locked on the high seat. Vale stood beside her, no armor, no helmet, just himself, unprogrammed, undivided. New law was being considered because of them. The High Council spoke. You bring us questions. Alina nodded. That's how humans grow. You bring us risk. She stepped forward. That's how you grow. A murmur spread. Your presence here has disrupted many systems, said a tall elder with vines instead of arms. And maybe that's what you needed, Alina said calmly. VEYL turned toward the assembly. I was designed to inspect, to erase, to report. But I learned something your code does not account for. And what is that? Asked a voice from above. He pointed. To Alina, her, there was silence, not rejection, not approval, just silence. The kind that waits before something big breaks. Then came the vote, one by one. The lights glowed green, blue, red, green. Alina held her breath. The final light turned white. A bell rang low and strange. A new law had passed. Later, Alina stood in the glass dome, now open to the galaxy. A large screen behind her showed a message in every alien language. First human accepted into the Galactic Accord. Emotion-based decisions now allowed. Commander Vale reinstated. Reformed. Respected. He walked up beside her. She didn't turn, still watching the stars. He asked. They look different now. How? Before, they looked lonely. He said nothing. Then, there is something I wish to show you. They walked through a long hall newly opened, into a room Alina had never seen. Inside world. Records. Artifacts from other visitors. Some lost, some erased, some remembered. In the center of the room stood one pod. The same human woman Alina had seen frozen earlier. Was now gone. Her tube was empty. A plaque had replaced her body. Unknown. Name, remembered by change. Alina touched the glass. She mattered after all. Vale nodded. Because you made them see it. Suddenly, a small drone buzzed in. A message blinked across its screen. Earth Command requesting contact. Do you wish to respond? Alina stared at it. She could go home. Finally. But she turned to Vale and smiled. Not yet. He tilted his head. The way he always did when learning something new. You're staying? I'm building. With you. For them. She pointed upward. To make sure no one like me ever walks into your world as just a test subject again. He nodded once. No more scan rooms. No more cages. From now on. Conversations. Understanding. Trust. And the chance for other species to be seen. Not just measured. Outside the dome. The stars shifted. A new ship left the station heading for another. Unknown planet. But now, they wouldn't erase the visitors. They would meet them. And listen. Because one human made them question the law. And chose to stay. Forever.